Well, we have a nice sized group here. I'm excited. Before we start, I'm going to say for some of the people who attended last quarter's prospecting track, this one's going to be a little bit different. Uh, I think you guys will like it because it's going to be a kind of a different approach, and I'll talk a little bit about it as once we get quorum here. We'll give it a couple minutes. Wow. All right. So let's go ahead and get started. First and foremost, today is a really interesting day, I guess is the right way to describe it. As those of you who don't know me and aren't familiar with me, Brandon Weaver, Shirag and I have developed a very, very close relationship over, I'd say, the course of the last year and a half, as I've been working with a group within Compass Voyage Real Estate out in Los Angeles. And it's been kind of an amazing journey. Obviously, working with the Compass family, learning the ins and outs of the organization, but also just observing real estate agents. And my own path, I guess, to this call is quite interesting because I've done sales pretty much my whole life, sales and marketing, across several different industries. So a lot of my perspective, uh, insights and advice are kind of taken from a lot of different businesses, both on across up and down the value chain, right? From supply to wholesaling to also retail. And there's different selling strategies and techniques when you operate at all three of those levels. But one of the interesting things that I've kind of realized when observing real estate agents, thinking about my own time doing the work as well, and reflecting on some of the good that I did, some of the bad that I did, where I cringe sometimes, and I'm like, oh, that was really good. I didn't really know what I was doing, but I made progress. Is there's just a lot of lessons to be learned when you just kind of break down what sales is and what you're trying to accomplish. And one of these things that I think is kind of an interesting through line across all of sales is this whole idea of, and it might seem foreign, but kind of brand management. You yourself as an agent, as a brand, and what you're selling as a product. So we're going to talk a lot over the course of, I don't know how long the session is. I don't know if it's 12 weeks or 8 weeks. I can't remember, but we're going to talk a lot about tactical kind of prospecting strategies and things that you can do and how to message and psychology. But what I'm most excited about, which we did not get to chat about during the uh, last quarter's sessions, was dialing everything back and focusing less on real estate prospecting and more on building the right foundation. And what I mean by that is the mindset that you have to have going into this and really into this business and what you want for yourself. I gather everyone on this call is ambitious and you want more for yourself and you envision yourself being top producers. So what do you need to do to get there? Who do you need to become to get there? And then there's goal setting. I found a lot from talking with the agents within Voyage that, everybody had, a great idea, at least a somewhat of an idea, North Star as to what they wanted to make, but they didn't really have a plan to get there. So what they said they wanted to make from a GCI perspective and what they were doing every day was misaligned. And so if you don't have a plan, you heard the old adage, you can plan to fail. So we're going to talk about how do we set up and make sure that you guys are setting goals that are stretch goals, not realistic, but stretch. And then do we have a plan to actually get there? Are we hunting in the right markets? Are we focusing on the right properties? Are we focusing on the right, uh, call it customer segment, buyers, sellers? And we'll talk more about that. So really these first 2 or 3 sessions will be about, setting you guys up and talking about some of these components which are vital. And then the big shift that we're going to make with this kind of track is that we're going to move from kind of theory into action. And I think that's, Shrug and I reflected on some of the curriculum and where I thought there could be improvements to it. And I think everybody hears theories. There's no shortage of gurus, people who say this, that, and the third. I'm sure you guys don't need another half an hour, hearing, oh, here's this, here's that, right? Here's what to do. It's actually more purposeful to here's how to do it. So one of the things I'm most excited about is one, today I actually, I'm the CEO of a company called Navigate, which you guys will hear more about. And it is a property intelligence platform that we created specifically for real estate agents. In large part because we saw the pain points of prospecting and how challenging it was. It was just clunky, uncoordinated. Data was just not reliable. And it took too long to connect with a prospect and to reach them with, the right message at the right time. So we're going to actually use Navigate and actually show you how to put some of these plans to work, right? So today's session will just kind of be just a kickoff. I wanted you guys to just know a little bit more about me, my background. I'm incredibly excited to be here. Kind of the shift in focus we'll be making. And then I'm going to share some slides with you to kind of set the stage and talk a little bit about what I just shared with you, right? The foundational elements, but also share what the next steps coming out of this will look like, because there's some homework for you guys, which might be a little bit strange for those of you who've been on the call to the last session, but I think you'll find it very interesting. And this will be a bit more, there'll be these sessions, and I'm going to do some personal sessions with each of you to get you set up for success. So that's enough of my preamble. Let's get started. Let me share my screen. I know some people are still coming in. So it's funny, those of you who were on the prospecting track for last quarter, we always know I had some technical issues when I started. So hopefully I've managed to work those kinks out and have this run smooth. So you guys can all see my screen, correct? Great. So what are we really talking about here? I took a look at the prospecting process, as I alluded to you guys, firsthand watching my agents, and I just saw that it was broken. And I wanted to kind of reimagine prospecting. It was the impetus behind Navigate. Collected a ton of feedback from agents, observed them, gone through the process myself, and there's just some insights that kind of surfaced that you guys will be hearing from me, but I think it'll be a shift in a mindset, almost like a paradigm shift. Hopefully it makes sense. And if not, we can go into more detail. But really, I want us to just reimagine what prospecting is. We know that agents across the country are kind of going at it in very similar ways. They use different messages, different channels to reach, whether it be people who they are trying to get listing appointments with, whether it be buyers, and it's very, very difficult to cut through. And in this process of seeing why people struggle to cut through, a lot of it is because, they either don't have the information, so they're flying blindly. They use a spray and pray approach. Their message isn't precise. They don't contextualize certain things, certain information they have about the property or the owner to make it make sense for who their target is. And so we're going to discuss all this today. And this is what I want you guys to start thinking about, is just almost forget everything you knew about prospecting. Well, not everything, but the majority of it, because this is going to be just a different approach, and we're going to reimagine and re-envision and really ask yourself, am I ready to commit to really this shift in mindset? So let's talk more about it. So resetting the prospecting mindset. And again, I don't want you guys to focus necessarily what's on the slides. This will be presented to you or shared with you after. But this is about just, instead of moving fast, thinking about, oh, I got to go put a name in my CRM, I got to go send out a postcard, and all these things which are technically the right thing to be doing. But when you're doing it, are you doing it in the most effective way? Right. So this isn't random. This isn't scattered. As I mentioned, this is about precision prospecting. And you'll hear me say this time and time again. There's always this saying, you guys hear it in other industries. A lot of people use it in sports around, this is a game of inches, or, you know, uh, the margins matter. And the same can be applied here. And so if every real estate agent is pretty much doing the same thing, or if you're operating in an area where a lot of people are farming, competition is fierce, inventory is tight, you need a way to kind of stand out, right? You need a competitive edge. And what I found, and we put into practice when I was working with our team at Voyage, was that having a data first mindset can oftentimes make the difference between getting a listing appointment and just being like everybody else. And it's not data just for the sake of data, because obviously everyone is talking about that in the age of AI and data and big data and how do we do it. I get all that. What I'm talking about is data and its application. And that's the real magic of it. Data by itself doesn't really mean anything. It's the application of it that actually where's the magic. And so we'll speak in some of these slides coming up. I'll share a little bit more about what that means. But what I want to really have you guys shift as far as how you think about this process to where I want you, how I want you to be thinking about this process is this old mindset of, focusing on value. I got to touch as many people as possible. It's a numbers game. We always hear that, right? Generic outreach. Well, it takes too long to customize messages. So I got to get something out there because it's a numbers game. So we might be doing the right thing, but it's not effective. High effort. Well, Brandon, I'm spending a lot of time here, but I'm not converting a lot. So I get frustrated and I give up. It's not working. I send something out, I'm not hearing back. So I'm going to stop this and I'm going to do something else. We give up, right? This is literally a discipline business. And so the ask of you guys is going to be to, not just in these sessions, but in your business, to think about what commitment really is. Are you willing to stick with the process, even though it doesn't give you immediate returns? Like most things in life don't. Are you willing to stick with it? Okay. And how are you actually thinking about this process in relation to everything that's going on around you? And those of you who are in last quarter session oftentimes heard me talk about, I call it the texture of the times, meeting people where they're at. And there's a way to connect and a way to be authentic and a way to kind of reach people when you are kind of sensitive to all the things that are happening in the world. And I'll give you an example. With everything that's happening with the fits and spurts with the economy, there's just a lot of confusion, right? You hear one day the Fed chief's going to be fired. You hear another day something's going to happen. You hear trade stuff. It is chaotic. There's a lot going on. I'm not saying it's bad or it's good. It's just a lot. And I think a general feeling amongst people is that there's confusion. Right. Then they hear a message from some feed they get around real estate slow and this and this and this. Prices are still too high, or prices are coming down, or it's difficult to qualify. They hear a cacophony of message. It's this almost like echo chamber of just noise, right? Some of it competing, some of it validating what they feel, and some of it refuting. So if we know this and we all feel it, not just in the world of economics and finance, but across really everything, that's a tension, that's a sentiment that you can use to your advantage. And what I'm talking about is not wielding it in this is not the dark arts of sales here, but these are shared connection moments and shared feelings that people have where you can cut through a simple sales message and really connect here. So you hear me talk a lot about the humanity in sales, right? And I think in this age of AI, and again, this is just kind of my theory here, you don't have to agree with it. I think everyone sounds cookie cutter and boilerplate, and there's a real opportunity to not be perfect. All right. Stumble a bit, be fallible. And that, because it's so foreign now, people remember what it feels like, and they actually gravitate to what it feels like to be human, right? Not a robot. So this will be around, again, precision prospecting. How do we get precise with the prospecting? We have tools and resources, but where does it start, right? And it starts with you guys, right? I like this quote here. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. Now, I know for a lot of agents that I talk to, process and systems, it's kind of like, oh my gosh, I just want to go out there and sell, Brandon. You're slowing me down. All right. Like, that's not what this business is about. It's about relationships. 100%. I agree with you. It's about relationships. But your day and the time you spend, I imagine each of you wants to maximize it and be the most productive you can. And if you were like me when I started sales, I just wanted to kind of hit the ground running. I'll figure it out as I go. And it's about the volume. I'm having these conversations, but I couldn't keep track of it. I didn't know where people sat on the funnel. Like, what do I re-engage with them with? What's the frequency? All these things. And I was like scrambling. I was like, I don't even know what I'm working towards. So I was sitting in this kind of arena, this gauntlet, if you will, jungle, and I didn't even know where the exit was, what I was working towards. And it was chaotic. It didn't make me necessarily look good in front of my superiors, and it was led to a lot of wasted effort. So I'm not saying I am perfect with this. I still fall victim to those same habits, but one of the things that's important is, and I usually like to do this at the Q4 is going into Q1 of the prior year, but thinking about your business that you did before as you close out the year, reflecting on the good, the bad, the ugly, and then thinking about what you learn and where you want your business to go next year and putting a number on it. And if you measure that number, some people measure it differently. I tend to think about the volume and transactions and all that. All it is just another way to say, like, how much money do you want to make? And not just say it, write it down. It's about working with real intention, right? That is your target. And then once you set that target, we then put a plan in place. Call it defining your hunt, right? Identifying the markets where there's enough prey or enough transaction velocity, enough opportunity where there's demand and there's an ability to get supply. And even if there is not a lot of supply that is, or that maybe even if it's not a environment where not a lot of people are listing their homes for sale, right? How do we find tools and resources to run campaigns like, the make me sell? What's your make me sell price or make me an offer price? How do we create opportunity? How do we take what we know about the market, take what we know about demand in the market and their property, contextualize it all to give them a real impetus to have a conversation with you, to explore whatever your solution or proposal is. Right. So verifying the opportunity, right? This is like, are we hunting in the right areas, right? Is there enough red meat, as they said? And this last point is really important. And it's this mastery of the product and really understanding property profile. And what I find with some agents, and not all, some focus on a particular type of property, condos, let's just say. Others focus on single families. Others have a strategy for, duplexes, triplexes. Others have a strategy for absentee owners. But really knowing your market and knowing the type of homes that are there and knowing the type of owner profile that are there that actually occupy those homes. And developing and devising a strategy really focused around opportunities that exist with those type of homeowners if you're prospecting for listings. And this is going to tee up kind of this paradigm shift. And I know some of you can be like, what is this guy talking about? But, we found in applying some of these principles and this new thinking, the agents I worked with saw, each one of them, ironically, or maybe not ironically, each one of them actually saw a tremendous lift in their business year over year. And they were able to get more listing appointments, and that's the name of the game, right? This is an at-bats game, and you got to, if you're going after listings, like the key thing is, how do I get in front of more people? How do I improve connectivity? How do I connect and move that conversation from communication to connection to conversion? Just this pendulum. And this theory that I have, which it dawned on me, especially when creating this platform and looking at the treasure trove of information that homes contain, it was interesting. And as I was thinking about all of the home data that we were able to source and pull, all this rich information beyond bed and bath count, sure, that's there, but whether the mortgage that was on it, the interest rate that loan that they had on it was at, the balance, and I combined it with some of the owner information we were able to pull, whether they were married or not, household net worth, obviously their contact information, accurate contact information. It became clear that we're really not actually prospecting people. And I know that's been kind of the thing that everybody thinks, like, what do you mean? Like, we're calling people. And yes, we are calling people. But just like you're an agent for a client, the homeowner is an agent for the property. Call it its representative. And what we're really prospecting are properties, right? We are trying to match inventories with profiles or people, right? So when we think about that for a second, it seems a bit like crazy. One might say they're one and the same, and they very well might be. But for me, when we started to shift the focus on properties and getting as much information as we can about properties, it changed the conversation. Now, I know some of you will say, like, well, duh, Brandon, like, yeah, the more information I have on a home, obviously that's helpful. Challenge has been from my seat that I've seen in talking to agents and in practice that it's very difficult to get that information, whether that home is in an LLC or in a trust. You can't get information on the people who are occupying that home, right? If I get information on a home, is it stale? Can I trust it? Where do I get it in one setting? How do I organize it? And all these things create challenges, make you lose confidence. And so when creating our platform, one of the things that we wanted to do is put the property first, which is why we call it a property intelligence engine, to really make sourcing information on the home a focal point and the priority, and really start to unlock this story that rests with the home. And why that's important is because the property reveals motivations, needs, and timing. And if you know what you're looking for, a story quickly, or a theme, if you will, quickly emerges that, when married with really good owner data, starts to inform how you communicate. So rather than send a blanket message, now's a great time to buy, or now's a, perfect time to sell. And it's like, yeah, you and everybody else say that. Like, why does that matter to me? Make it matter to me. This moves you from generic prospecting to really precise, right? So we'll go through a little bit more what that means. Again, like I told you, we're going to be working with Navigate and seeing how this idea comes to light in a platform, right? Very quickly and very easily, and how putting this together allows you to paint this full picture, which again makes everything much more potent. So I'm really big, and this is something I have been giving a lot of thought about as I've reflected on my own journey in sales. And I've been recently posting some content on it on our social channels and my LinkedIn. And one of the things that I noticed, and I have not heard anybody say before, but when we think about the path to conversion, and when you meet a buyer or a seller, call it a customer, and they don't know anything about you, oftentimes this takes place in a cold call, and you're trying to move them from, you don't know anything about me. And usually the person on the other end is approaching it like this, right? They don't want to deal with you. They don't have time. They don't trust you. All right. So low trust to high trust is where you're trying to go. But also relevancy. And what literally kind of came to mind as I was thinking about this, almost like this X and Y axes, right, where I'm trying to go from low to high, and I'm trying to move from low relevancy to high relevancy, is how do we get to conversion and what happens at conversion? Why is someone willing to, whether your conversion is, yes, I got a listing appointment, or whether your conversion is, yes, I will go with you for the listing, or whatever it is, how do you get somebody to move from this no mindset to, oh, I'll consider it, to let's move forward? And it's the seller's ability to contextualize what it is they're selling to that person, to where they think that the product is the perfect fit for them in that moment. So it's time, it's relevancy, it's features. And at that height of contextualization, usually a conversion happens. So what that means for you guys is that we talk about data. It's great to have, a tear sheet full of data, but it's your ability to pick apart what's important about that data in relation to what's important about what's going on and what you might know about them. Maybe it's they've been in a home for a very long time or sitting on a ton of equity. And so they're empty nesters. Now's a great time to downsize. Right? It could be they're married with kids. Could be a perfect time to upgrade your home. But without knowing all this, it's kind of tough. So our platform really focused on bringing a lot of that information that's in the background to the foreground, so you guys can see it and be like, okay, I see this person is a high net worth person. I see this person does this for a living. They're an executive. They're married with kids. So now when you talk to them, you know their psyche, you know how to approach, right? They may be more sophisticated. They might be dealing with, if for those of you who have children, issues with having a ton of children, right? Life's crazy. I'm running through the day. I'm trying to put kids in school. Maybe school's starting and now is not the right time. But without any of this information, you're doing guesswork, and we're likely guessing wrong. Right? So this property intelligence is key. Owner intelligence, when combined with it, that's where the magic happens. Again, you'll hear me say it ad nauseum, property intelligence matters. And one of the things that we're going to do, and we're going to start this today, and you guys, again, are going to be the beneficiary of a lot of good material here. I'm in I guess you could say, the spirit of giving away a lot of material and guides and cheat sheets and hacks.
Just want to see what you want.
Huh?
Sorry, I didn't realize I had unmuted myself.
Oh, it's okay. It's all right. So I'm in call me Santa Claus here, because I'm going to give away a lot of stuff to you guys, because you guys made the commitment on your end to become better at this and realize your fullest potential. And I feel committed to help you guys get there. So there's obviously the sessions that we're doing weekly, but you guys are going to get some of my individual time, and you guys are going to get some guides and cheat sheets, right? So everything I talk about, yeah, it sounds great, Brandon. Like, I'm going to walk away from here and I won't know what to do first, right? A lot of theory, not a lot of action. So one of the things that we're going to talk about is, the market selection. How do we choose it? Where do we want to dominate? Are you best suited to dominate it? Your property focus, which you talked about, which properties are you focusing on? What type of properties, rather, your property profile, the volume and opportunity check. Is there enough there? And is there enough at the right prices and transaction velocity for you to actually achieve those goals? Like, does your activity map to what your goals you set? Your messaging and angle, beyond just what you are potentially selling, what makes you you, what's your special sauce, what's your unfair advantage, why do people buy you? At the outset of the call, I talked about brand management, and I want you to, and you'll hear me kind of bastardize this analogy here, because I spent time working in the wine and spirits business, and we compete at the shelf. For those of you who drink alcohol, you've walked down an alcohol aisle and seen every vodka, every tequila, and they all look the same. They're all saying the same thing. Why do you choose one over the other? There's a reason. They've done something to make it matter to you, whether it's price, whether it's how it makes you feel, whatever it is, whether it's the format. Think of yourself as the brand, and they're buying you, right? Yes, they're buying whatever it is you're selling, but it's wrapped in your package. So knowing what you do well, how you connect, what your special sauce is, it's important. And just to give you an idea of what that means, because a lot of people just struggle with that. Like, what am I good at? Like, why? Like, I don't understand. Like, we're all real estate agents. We all have access to the same thing. Like, I have Compass here. Like, it's pretty cookie cutter. We had an agent who was working at Voyage that I was coaching. And one of the things I quickly noticed about her was that whenever you spoke to her, she made you feel comfortable. Right? It was almost like how a mother would make you feel. You just felt like everything was going to be okay. And I don't know if it was her cadence. I don't know if it was the word she used. I don't know if she was smiling a ton. I don't know if she used a lot of hand gestures, but whatever it is, I just felt like the world was going to be okay. And I stopped her and said, "What do you think your gift is?" She's like, "I don't even know what you're talking about." I was like, "Well, what do you think you do better than most?" She's like, I don't know. I was like, "Well, you should. And if you don't, I'm going to tell you right now." And I go, "You have an amazing ability to make people feel comfortable in whatever setting when you speak. And you diffuse a lot of the tension. And whatever you say, whatever you do, you allow people to open up. And if you're present in that moment and realize what's happening and know that you have that superpower, you can get a lot of information from a lot of people." And surprisingly, I don't know how old she is, but in her, however long she's been on this earth, no one had ever told her that. And I go, it's not up to you to weaponize it. It's up to you to know that's a strength and a superpower and to harness it in the right way to get more than your fair share. Not everybody can do that. And that's a gift. And that makes her unique. Right. So when she communicates, her communication should be done face to face. Right? She'll get further rather than an email where that won't cut through. So that's just an example. And we'll talk more about that over the course of these weeks. And then obviously the daily and weekly goals, sticking to this, committing to it, putting an action plan together, and not just having it, but committing to it, right? In order to get something you've never done or never achieved before, do something you never achieved before, you got to do things that you've never done. It's just the reality of it. And, while there might be hacks and shortcuts, there's no shortcut to doing the real work and staying committed and focused. And every top producer I talk to, whether it's in Compass or outside of it, they all have the same kind of approach, right? They have these habits that they stick to every day, right? They do the work. Regardless of how big they are, they door knock, right? Whether they have a team that tracks their work or they do it themselves, they track their activity and they follow up and they're consistent, right? This is just good business hygiene. So one of the things we're going to leave here today doing is I'm going to give you guys a cheat sheet. I like to call the top producers cheat sheet. Right? 10 listing appointments in 90 days. Right? It might sound ambitious. I think each of you, when committing to it and with tools like Navigate and with an action plan, a focus plan on where we need to be focusing our time and effort, I think it's doable. And even if you told me it's not doable, I challenge you on that mindset. Right? We're not limiting here, we're thinking here. It's about pushing yourself and challenging yourself and experimenting. And with this document, I'm going to ask that the group take a look at it. This is a resource that I'm giving to you, and we'll follow this session with some links so you'll have these documents. I don't just leave you with the cheat sheet document. I'm going to give you a guide that unpacks each of those elements on the cheat sheet so you just have a little bit more I guess you could say context as to why they matter and what these things can do for your business. And one of the things that we're going to do here, which I'm really excited about because I get to know you guys and your business and really hopefully help you guys, is I want you guys to complete a short questionnaire. And while I know it's, Brandon, I'm busy, I got a lot going on, it's really short. And all it is just tell me a little bit about who you are, um, and what your property profile that you're focused, like the properties that you are really targeting, the type of property, and the market and geography that you're going after. And what that's going to do is set the stage for one-on-one sessions, half an hour length, where we're going to be talking about the cheat sheet, some of the elements, the focus on the properties, and we're going to be working in the system with Navigate to literally get you properties and owner information and putting that plan to work. So again, you heard me talk about moving from theory to actual implementation and execution. This is what we're going to do. And I feel confident that once you guys are in the platform and see all the information and also the functionality of it, the ability to gather that information, create a message, and send information out at scale, that you guys will see, why having all of that detail can make this process, if you will, essentially get better results from it, right? And again, I'm not quite sure if you all are experiencing frustration from I don't know how to get started. I don't know where to get the data. I don't know how to organize it. I'm just not successful. Wherever you are on your journey with prospecting, what we're going to be doing here, we're going to hit the reset button. And again, wherever you are, this information will prove invaluable. And it's not just because I think so. It's because I saw this and we ran this play with 5 agents on our team, and each one, their business grew year over year, got more appointments. They were more confident in what they were selling. And the path to conversion, the path to impact, right? Whether that impact was important, it was an appointment, or whether it was getting the listing, or whether it was whatever their goal was, it shortened, right? Because they had the information and they weren't doing discovery work on a call, finding out about, they already knew going into it. So they were able to be surgical. So we're going to set up these one-on-one conversations, where we'll go into detail about your business and we'll work the system. And hopefully, my hope actually is that you'll walk away saying, wow, Navigate can be a great accelerant for it. And that I feel much more confident going about my day to day. And then after the first 3 or 4 sessions where we get through Navigate, we'll talk about the messaging, the tactics, right? Like, how do we message to these groups? What's the frequency? What's the channel? How do we talk about approach tactics, or approach things like circle prospecting, and how can Navigate help with that? How do I build my brand awareness? All these things will be part of this prospecting track. So I want you guys to get excited. Again, this is going to be something new. This is not a numbers game. And I want you guys to just literally shift your mindset. This is not, let me just try to reach as many people as possible, spray and pray, because I don't know anywhere where that works, right? It's a data game. And the more data that you have, the more you understand a property, right? Build the right message, take the smart action, right? Insights to action, and you analyze and recalibrate what's working, what's not, right? What's happening now that might influence the way I communicate or prospect that was different last quarter, and how do I infuse that? And why does that matter? This is not about chasing leads. This is about building a strong, predictable, consistent business. And I believe everybody wants that, to where they go into each morning and know that they have a routine. They can almost guarantee a certain set of results, and they have peace of mind at the end of the day, and don't go into the year, quarter, or day scrambling just to keep up. We all know in markets that did really, really well, that approach, you might not have seen, you might not have paid the price rather for that approach because there was enough meat on the bone. But in markets that it's tough now, right? You got to be smarter. And it's, again, the things you do on the margin, that's what really counts. And that's going to separate you from just being average to being great. So I'm going to stop there. I don't know how I'm doing on time. I realize it's 9:15, so I've gone over the half an hour mark, but I think the extra 15 minutes was helpful because we want to set the stage for what's going to be happening over the next, call it 11 weeks in which you guys will be learning. Again, I will say for those who've taken the session prior who are repeat, it's going to look a little bit different. Some of it will be some of the same. Some of it will be different because we're going to start from scratch. Whereas you guys, I think when we started, we were starting halfway through. And I want to break down some old habits, as difficult as that might be, shift your approach and your thinking. And again, I'm not saying I am right. This is not, there's no pride in authorship here. This is just things that I've seen, insights that I've gleaned from other businesses and how they approach selling. It's all the same, right? Real estate's no different, right? You're selling a product. This is supply, demand, and you guys are intermediaries trying to move that. You don't own the inventory. You are just custodians of it for a little bit of time. And that influences how you operate in the value chain, right? And how you build awareness and demand. So all these principles we're going to be applying to it. So some of them will be foreign. Please embrace it. Be open-minded. That's all I ask. This is not a one-way dialogue. So I want you to share your experiences, observations, and things that maybe you don't agree with, and things that maybe you're like, wow, like I've never heard about that. That's really cool. I'm going to put that into practice. Right? The hope is that you'll get better at the end of this, but we'll learn, but that you get more comfortable in experimentation. That's the name of the game, right? This business moves, it shifts, it changes, and your approach needs to as well. So I'm going to stop there and open up the floor to anyone who has any questions. I know there's a lot of people on the call, so I want to be mindful of that. And sometimes managing that can be a little bit clunky. But let me stop my screen share so I can see you all. And oh, I see there's a lot of questions in the queue here. And thank you, Victoria. I love that you're going to be operating with an open mind. Wow, there's still people entering. Okay, so let's see. Squirrel and I'm off track. Don't worry. Navigate's here to give you a little direction. Pun intended. Okay, there's a lot of comments here. Does anybody have any questions? Maybe I'm missing one. I don't know. Feel
I
free.
do. I do.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I'm dealing with an annoying
I
client at
saw
the same
Jessica. Don't
time.
worry about it. It's all good.
Um, so I'm definitely gonna have to probably go back and listen to some of this, but what I did hear that I think you were saying, like, you're dealing with the property and not the client, and you're trying to be more useful for the client that you might have for the property is what I'm my summing up of it. But
Yes.
does your system work? I know I'm from Manhattan. I've mentioned this
Yeah,
multiple
yeah.
times. Everyone
Are
knows
you the one who
this
asked
at
about
this
the
point.
co-ops?
Yeah, is that like
Yeah, it
because
does.
co-ops are a different animal in itself.
Yeah.
I know like when I look stuff up at like Property Shark, I can't find
You can't find anything in
people.
an LLC or a
Yeah,
trust, right?
yeah,
Well,
exactly.
guess
Yeah.
what? You're saved. So
Okay.
I have been slaving the last year, my team, myself, uh, trying to get the product to the market. We got it here today. But one of the reasons why it has taken longer than we'd like is because I wanted to deliver something that really moved the needle and solved for some of these challenges. I can't tell you, Jessica, how many people like Property Shark, I use that thing and they say I can get the LLC, the owner contact, and I can't get it. Well, I am happy to tell you that we have cracked the code. I'm not going to tell you how because it's proprietary, but we have, and I'm thrilled. It used to be where when I was doing demos, I would say, pick that property because I knew we could get it. Now it's give me a property and I'll show you what we can get.
Come
And
find me if you need an
it
example. I have
it
so many.
is, yeah, no, it's amazing. And I saw someone say, "Is there a cost to use this?" So what we're gonna do for you guys is right now we have a 7-day free trial. I need to go back to my dev team. I'm gonna actually for this group actually prolong the trial phase and do it for 30 days, right? Because I want you guys to really, it's one of the benefits of being part of CSC that you guys get stuff that others don't. And I want you guys to really start to use the platform. And another benefit for you guys is that you guys get a discount from what the standard pricing is, just being part of CSC. But I'm telling you guys, once you guys get in here, I mean, I literally have been doing demos for Compass agents, agents outside of Compass, and like people are just like, wow, you guys are able to get that information. And I have to pinch myself. I'm like, yeah. And I'm telling you, to be able to penetrate the trust in the LLC, get accurate data, but also the address of the LLC, in addition to obviously the property, and to be able to do it consistently with the coverage across the country. It's phenomenal. And the product's only going to get better. Today, I'm really excited because I'm demoing for a team in South Florida. There's going to be an MLS overlay to it. So you'll see obviously if the property is listed or not, its listing history. And then we're going to be adding a lot of just interesting data, like a propensity to default. So that what that means is like if there are indicators of distress on a property, right? So they're behind on their mortgage, they're delinquent on their taxes, there'll be a flag. So again, you'll know the situation before going in, right? You may be working with investor clients, opportunistic buyers. And so instead of just hoping and praying, it's like, oh, that property is under distress. Let's go in with an all cash buy. Whatever your strategy is, having more data will inform it. And we know that there's power in it. Our job is to make sure that it's not just a deluge of data where you go, oh my God, it's just too much and I don't know what to do with it. It needs to be intuitive. So it tells a story and you know what action to take and what story is emerging, not just data for data's sake. So Jessica, long-winded answer is yes, we can do that. And in our one-on-one, we'll walk through some of these
my next
properties.
question to you is, and I don't know if I'm jumping over, but like you keep on saying a story. Are
Yes.
you going to be able to do that? Like I'm not really good at making stories. That's what ChatGPT is for.
Yeah. And
Oh.
so listen, I want you to get out of the mindset of not really good at, right?
Oh, I'm good
You
at
just
it
have,
now. ChatGPT is my best friend.
yes. And ChatGPT, I don't want anybody in here to rely on ChatGPT. ChatGPT is your accomplice. It is not your answer. So I want people to shift that mentality. So don't take ChatGPT and just cut, paste, and put it in there. It's your accomplice. And all these tools, right? There's your process and approach, right? The tool isn't the answer. The tool can be an amplifier or an accelerant, right? The process is what's going to remain. Navigate just helps you do it a lot quicker. So I'm not saying Navigate is the answer for prospecting, or Navigate will solve for your prospecting challenges. Navigate will be an accelerant for your process, which I wholeheartedly believe will improve your prospecting, because the stuff that you don't have, which is why you might be missing, we provide, right? And just with that, you'll be a much more purposeful prospector, if you will. So yes, the storytelling piece, this is, once you start to see on our calls what I'm talking about with the, wow, we're able to get this information on the home and we're able to find this information on the owner. What is this telling us? So that's what I mean by creating stories, not like you're writing elegant, J.R. Tolkien novels, right? You're just being really precise with what the pain point might be or the opportunity area might be. Does that make sense? Great. Anybody else?
What's your suggestion for signing up? Should we sign up for the free trial now? Should we wait until you give us the go ahead?
Yeah, because right now the trial is just for 7 days, and we're not gonna, 7 days is gonna be next Wednesday, and so I don't want it to expire. You could sign up for the trial if you want now, just to see it if you're really, really curious. But what I want to do is I'm gonna ask Shirag, because this is all happening in real time, and we designed our trial not for this group. We're just our trial for just anyone coming to the platform, which is why we chose 7 days. But because you guys are a special group, I want to treat this cohort differently and give you guys a longer period from which to kind of test this, right? If you want to send mailers out to see how that process works, right? And really start to get in there and go under the hood. One of the things I will say about the trial is that some of it you won't get the full capability of the platform. So when we actually do our one-to-one session, we'll be using my kind of super admin access so I can show you, and we'll give you the contacts and all the property level information. But the trial is it's our light product. So it's a very, call it lightweight, or it's like a gateway to navigate. We have, and I'll send you guys information on this so you guys can go to the site and just learn more about it. But we have, for solo users, we really have 2 products, the Navigate Lite and the Navigate Essential. You guys get a discount if you purchase it. Chirag will be probably sharing what the discount codes are. But it's exciting, and it's the right product for the right time. And I know it because I talk to agents all the time. They either don't have a solution, they fumble around, it takes too long, they don't trust the data, they can't get the information. And I believe that we've solved for this in an approachable way where it's not overwhelming. So if you guys go to navigatenow.com, and I'll write it in the chat. You guys can go on the site and kind of learn a little bit more about it. Go to the Why Navigate page, the About, you'll see a funny video from me. I hate looking at myself on camera, so don't laugh when you see it, but we talk a little bit about the product, who we're for. And I felt compelled to deliver it because you guys have been prospecting since the dawn of whenever real estate sales started. And no one stood up and represented you guys to build something that complements the way you guys prospect. Everybody builds it for flippers, wholesalers, investors, but they've not built it for agents and the way they approach the business. And so we are the first platform to do this. And so this is, as much as it is mine, it is yours. So your feedback is welcome as well.
It's been a long time coming.
Yes, Russ, I love that, right? Like, and it's crazy. And I think you could probably see when I was talking to people, I'm like, you mean to tell me that like nobody has looked at this process and tried to make it easier? And I can't blame agents because that's not the business you're in. Like, I need to transact. I'm not a technologist. And so my business partner, Ari, who runs Voyage, and I were just like, let's solve this. Right. And it sounds great on paper. It's one thing to actually do it, right? That's the pain that I've lived over the last year and change. But to be here at this day to deliver something that like I get goosebumps when I see, it's almost like
serendipitous.
Yeah. And my job is to get it in front of as many people as possible. And working with you guys and Chirag, I think it's a natural partner because as you start to work the platform and we start to develop these messages, Chirag and I talk about it's the tactics and the technology. And once you combine those two, you'll have a competitive edge. And everybody's going out there shooting blanks, missing, right? Letting their ego get in the way. I know what's best. I know what's right. Confused. It's just a lot. I talked a lot in my last session about companies. And I've been doing sales for close to 20 years now. And I can recall I was working for GE. And at the time, there were no CRMs, maybe dating myself here. But they were like, oh, here's a CRM. And it required me to do a lot of work. And I'm sure they thought it was great. For me, I was a top seller, right? I'd rather go through my pain because my pain guaranteed results, as inefficient as I was. And despite them delivering a product supposed to make me more efficient, I was reluctant to do it because they didn't contextualize it for me. They just dropped it on my desk and patted themselves in the back and said, here it is. And listen, I'm not saying Compass is at fault. I think every company does it. My hypothesis is you guys get so many tools, Compass One, Business Tracker, this, that, and the third, right? We're doing this. And no one has literally sat down and said, how do I all these stars up here, which are disparate. I get that they are supposed to help me. They're coming fast. How do I organize into the Big Dipper, into a constellation? How do I know when to use it? Where in the funnel do I use this? All right, what's the sequencing? No one contextualizes any of this stuff for you. They deliver it and say, here you go, and then get upset, like, why aren't people using it? And if you're like me, when you see that, you actually probably get more anxious because you feel worse off than you were before. So it's like, I got another thing to learn, right? I now have to figure that out. I still have business coming in. No one's really taught me how to actually maximize it. Where does it fit? It's just another thing to do. Right? So I've created a guide for you, which I will share later, that organizes all of Compass's tools and systems. So you know at which stage where this inserts and where you use it, and where a tool like Navigate can fit in. And yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Just a quick question. In your Navigate program, will that find, when you say owner data, are we talking phone numbers and emails and all of that as well?
More than that, Matt. We're talking, so not just phone numbers and emails. Like, you don't need Brandon Weaver at usc.edu. Is it accurate? Sure. Is it relevant? Absolutely not. This is the most relevant phone number and email. So what was most recently used, whether it's for an application for a credit card, whatever is the last one that they used, the most recent, you will see it prioritized. And I'm talking about marital status, household net worth, a credit score, not the exact one, but the range, number of children in the household, estimated income.
A lot of information.
There you go.
I see CRM integration. Does that work with Compass? Will that integrate into the Compass system?
So it's a great point. So Jonathan, the next thing on my roadmap, one of the next things on my roadmap is the integration. So we want to be able to take that, like, for us, we exist top of the funnel. So my win in this world is you made contact and they're saying they want to have another conversation. And when that happens, I want you to be able to move that into your next phase of the funnel, which might be Business Tracker, Follow Boss, whatever you use, right? You've completed the process with Navigate. It did its job, and now you're on your way.
Nice.
So right now we can send email out, and in about 2 weeks, we'll have the mail sequencing option. So you can send, because we know, like, if you send email and not everyone's going to respond, like, yes, I want to get it, right? You're going to need to slow drip it and sequence it. But once you get contact, move on to the next thing, and that's where you put it into your CRM. We don't want to be a CRM. That's a whole other business. I will not win, and that's too complicated, right? We exist top of the funnel. It is about how do we literally shorten the path to your next opportunity. And we believe that we can do so by giving you more data and being able to have you be more precise in these conversations. Right?
Nice.
And we've all seen it, by the way. When people cold call or reach out to you and they're like, hey, it's Brandon from like, it's literally so annoying. Like, I don't have time to be going through an interview right now. I'm a busy working professional. As opposed to someone who's really, not to say that, oh, I know this about you, but they cleverly craft their communication to guide them to a certain outcome they want, right? They map to their outcomes on the call because we know that whatever that area is of interest or is a pain point or an opportunity for that person. So it hits a little bit differently, right? So, yeah. Guys, I'm probably way over. Sorry, I'm a talker, so apologies. But I just want to know you guys are excited to go on this journey. And again, open-mindedness is the key. And I will, today, if not tomorrow, you'll see, I got to get all your email addresses. I'll send you guys a note on instructions, how to, get the trial. I just need to fix the time period for this specific group. So leave that with me. But I will send you the cheat sheet for the game plan. It's actually, there's a landing page where you can actually get it. And I'll send you a supplemental guide on how to just understand those elements. So you guys will have that to work with and start to look at it. I think it'll make a lot of sense, but it's just the beginning. So I look forward to it.
So are we putting our email in the chat, or you'll get it through the Chirag?
I'm gonna go get it through Chirag, because to put everybody's email in chat, like there's no way in hell I can organize all that, and there's easier paths to getting that information.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, thanks for clarifying. Yeah.
Great. Everybody
Good
good?
job, Brandon. Amazing.
I haven't done
Thank
anything
you.
yet, guys. Listen, you can give me a pat on the back when you guys get your next listing appointment. That's success for me, right? So, but go on
Well,
on
you
the
lit the
site.
torch.
I want you guys to take a
Looking
look
forward
at
to it.
Yeah. Go while in between this time and next week, go on the site, take a look at it. Again, if you guys want to sign up for the trial just to start playing with it, go ahead. Or you can wait, but just look at the story and you'll see everything that I said. It should come to life on the site. And I do a demo on there as well. I should have said that earlier. So on I think it's the About page, there is a link to a demo. It's about a 5-minute demo that you can go through and you can see everything I'm talking about.
What's the address?
Navigation.
.com. And I'll send this all in an email to follow up with you guys too. So don't have to commit it to memory.
Excellent.
All right, guys.
Thanks so much.
Happy prospecting. I promise I'm not that corny. Take care, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.